Catherine, federal investigators say they want to look closely at any expansion of air traffic into Concord's Buchanan Field. That after the light plane trying to land there slammed into the Sun Valley shopping mall last night, killing 4 people and injuring 69. Investigators and ordinary citizens are keeping a steady vigil at the scene, all of them trying to figure out what happened. We have several reports on the crash tonight, beginning with Lynn Gormley, who is standing by live at the Sun Valley Mall. Lynn, what are investigators saying tonight?
Jennifer, investigators spent all day going over the wreckage, but they're still not much closer to understanding why the plane crashed. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board and from the Federal Aviation Administration are working on it.
Investigators from 2 federal agencies walked along the roof of the mall, checking the wreckage. The mall itself was sealed because it's now part of the official crash site. Parts of the plane ended up on different floors.
They're scattered through all 3 floors. We have an engine on one floor, we have part of the propeller and the fuselage going through all 3 floors.
Pieces of the plane's wing were carefully lifted off the roof. The parts will be assembled in a workroom so that investigators can figure out how it crashed into the mall.
We have not made a determination as to the angle of impact or the mode of impact. Right at this point in time, the investigation is concerned with the wreckage examination only.
Many people couldn't stay away from the mall today. They felt compelled. They felt they had to come down and look at the damage.
They huddled in small groups, hunched up against the cold.
I think of when the Hindenburg went down. Oh, the humanity.
I'm always thinking of the lives, people's lives.
I feel sorry for the people.
A steady stream of cars slowly filed past, as if people wanted to pay their last respects. But most people really couldn't explain why they wanted to be here.
There is no more sign of the wreckage, Jennifer, but still people come by. They still look, they still wonder, and there aren't very many answers for them tonight.
People are curious. Lynn, was the mall open today? I noticed a lot of people there today.
The mall itself was not open because there are fears that the building is structurally unsound after the plane crashed through the roof. However, some nearby department stores are open, and so people are carrying on with their lives. Some people are still Christmas shopping.
Thank you, Lynn. Lynn Gormley reporting live from Concord, and we will have more on the plane crash there as News 10 at 5 continues.
You're watching KXTV Channel 10, Sacramento, Stockton. From the Sierra to the Pacific, live from California's capital, this is News 10. Reported by Dick Cable and Jennifer Smith.
And good evening, I'm George Warren in for Dick Cable, who's off this week. Of the 69 people injured in last night's crash, at least a half dozen are reported in critical condition in Bay Area hospitals this evening. Many victims got initial treatment at a hospital a mile from Sun Valley Mall. And
George, News 10's Dan Adams spent much of the night there, and he tells us that the victims credit fast action by hospital staff with saving lives.
Outside Mount Diablo Hospital in Concord, the ambulances came and went, carrying people whose last-minute Christmas shopping turned to tragedy. A quiet night in the emergency room was suddenly shattered.
It happened to have been an exceptionally quiet night, so there couldn't have been a better time to have a disaster than we had last night.
As more victims arrived here and at 6 other hospitals, medical experts from throughout the East Bay were called in. Soon there was no more space in the emergency room, and patients overflowed into other areas. This is the boardroom at Mount Diablo Hospital, and during the night 5 patients were even brought into here. But because of the extent of their injuries, mostly burns, those patients were transferred to other hospitals.
I don't have either of those on my list. We're still getting the names gathered.
The hospital switchboard was jammed with worried friends and relatives whose loved ones had been shopping in the mall. And in the emergency room, relieved family members who found their loved ones injured but alive heard tales of terror.
The plane came through the ceiling and blew up into my face, and I fell back onto the ground, and my boyfriend dragged me in through Macy's until I stood up. All I saw was when I saw the plane come down and it blow up in my face, and that's all I saw.
17-year-old Deanna was released after treatment for burns. So was former firefighter Wayne Grell, who was only several feet from children in line for a Santa display.
There was nothing left of the area where Santa was. The tree and all just totally burnt up, just went up in a ball of flame, and there were little kids running out of there, and some of them, their clothes was burning and stuff. And I feel bad because my wife is due here she's due December 25th, Christmas Day, and it'll be our first one. And here these poor little kids were getting burnt from this whole thing.
Despite the magnitude of the accident, it could have been worse. Emergency officials say drills for disasters such as last night's paid off. In Concord, Dan Adams, News 10.
As we mentioned earlier, federal investigators are taking a very close look at plans to expand